Now, the month of February is LGBT History Month, and to mark that, there's going to be a special service in Hinckley this afternoon. Mathew Hulbert is chair of the Board of Trustees at the LGBT Centre in Leicester, and he's told us all about it.
So we're really excited. It's our annual LGBT History Month service at St Mary's Church in Hinckley. It's 3 to 4:30 p.m. and it's just a really nice hour and a half. So about an hour of it is kind of the main event, the service. We've got a speaker from Inclusive Church and Christians at Pride, a lady called Anne Redcliffe, coming to speak. And St Mary's Church just recently joined the Inclusive Church network. And basically all that means, and I know that you'd hope this would always be the case, you know, wherever people go, be it a place of worship or whatever, but I'm afraid sometimes it's just not. It's a very visible way of saying we are an inclusive church, you know, regardless of gender or sexuality or whatever, you can come to our church and you'll be not only accepted but celebrated. And so I went to the then Vicar of St Mary's about 5 years ago and said, look, there's nothing in Hinckley and Bosworth that I know of that celebrates LGBT History Month. Could we possibly have an event, a service, if you want to call it that, here at St Mary's to celebrate this? And he said, well, let me just go off and speak to the church council, and came back and said, yeah, absolutely thrilled, Mathew, to do that. And so every year since then, and I think this will be about the fourth or the fifth, we've had something in February month for History Month.
And why do you think it's important to have this sort of service?
I think it's important because sometimes we can be forgotten, or we can be, that dreadful word, tolerated. Or let's face it, because I'm afraid, you know, there are some people out there who still think that the way we are is somehow wrong, even though I would very much not just argue but know from my own case that it's how I was born. Yeah, I'm a gay man and it was how I was born. And, you know, as I think Stonewall say, some people are gay, get over it. That really is my attitude, you know. But I think it's important, actually, that we have a visible presence. And LGBT History Month is a national event. There's stuff going on all over the country during February, and this is part of what we're doing in Hinckley and Bosworth.
Yeah. Now, you yourself, on a kind of journey of faith, I mean, you started life as an atheist, I think, for many years.
Well, I was brought up in the church,
yeah.
And you know, I didn't, in the end, come out until I was 31. I wish I'd done it much earlier. I wish I'd done it at university in my late teens, but I didn't. So I've been out of the closet, as they say, for about 8 or 9 years now. And, you know, I think part of that was some of what you heard growing up in the church. And some of what you heard nationally from the Church of England and others. And I know that it's an issue that they struggle with as a church to this day, and it saddens me that they do, but they do. And so, you know, I think I didn't see myself reflected very much in the community that I lived in.
So you withdrew out of that?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I started reading a lot of Christopher Hitchens and all of this, so I still have a great deal of respect for, a great atheist for folks who don't know. And a lot of what he said chimed with me. And so I became a kind of fairly atheist for quite a time. And then, very sadly, my dad died. And at times of distress, you can want, you know, if people want to call it a crutch, I have no problem with that at all. And the then minister at St Mary's was absolutely brilliant during that time. You know, gave me a lot of wise words and a lot of comfort. And slowly but surely, I'm not there yet, but slowly but surely, I'm returning to faith and finding that is actually important for me.
So services like what's happening on Sunday, having that chance to articulate a faith, your faith,
yeah,
very important for you.
Well, it is, but as I say, we also hope that people, I mean, I know that lots of LGBT plus people, as I said earlier, have had bad experiences with churches, and so inviting them to come to an event that's in a church, I absolutely understand and respect that for many people that might be a step too far. But what I'd say is that yes, there'll be Christian elements to this service. Ultimately, it is in a church, it is being led by a minister, it is a service. But what I would also say is that this is an event for all. It's an event not just for LGBT plus people. If you're an ally, straight ally, please do come along. It's also for people of no faith as well. There'll be little faith-based elements to it, but the majority of the service will be about accepting and celebrating LGBT plus people.
Andrew Fewster was talking to Mathew Hulbert about the LGBT Month service, which is going to be held at St Mary's Church in Hinckley this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And I'm delighted to say we're going to hear from Mathew again today because after 7:30 he will join me to look at this morning's papers. I wonder if he'll have any more luck than I have at finding jolly stories.